Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is AshQuest, and today home is in the deep, dark depths of a deadly dungeon because we are going to be unboxing the expansion content for Iron Helm from Grey Gnome Games. Iron Helm is a game that I recently unboxed and presented on the channel, and today we will be unboxing its named expansion, Iron Chest, the Iron Helm expansion. There are several more adventure packs and dungeon decks to explore, and we will do that in a future video. But for now, we unbox the Iron Chest. The Iron Chest includes the Lonely Troll Inn, random encounters, the Spire of Zogar, beasts and burdens, realms and relics, and more. Now, I have unboxed this off camera only to this point, only enough to see that there are several decks of cards, all separated. There are several card separators, which are meant to go into the Iron Helm base game box and help you separate these different categories of cards from one another, because you never have to play with one particular expansion or another or any combination. You can do whatever you like. You can play just the base game, one expansion, two expansions, all expansions. We have miniatures and a die, and we have oversized adventure cards. Let's start with the adventure cards, shall we? These are a very nice size. Plenty of room to put our miniatures on. We have the level 1 adventure. This does seem to look a lot like the adventure card that's in the base game. The opposite side, however, does not look like a cave. Now, flipping this back and forth, they're both level 1 adventures. The maps look identical. The only difference is in the symbols in the corridors between each room. It looks like we'll be encountering these symbols in between these quests, and perhaps this will affect the outcome of our adventure within each level, or within each room of the level, rather. We have a die symbol, a mushroom symbol, a trap symbol, and a potion symbol on this side of the card. And here we have a treasure chest, a die, a mushroom, and an axe symbol, respectively. This level adventure card gives us an axe, potion, die, and die symbol, with the aesthetic of the dungeon looking the exact same, just the background, the stone into which the dungeon was carved is a different material. It's like sapphire instead of onyx, obsidian. And the other dungeon cards seem to follow suit. Level 4 is a lovely purple. And we actually have two more cards here. We have an advertisement for Underquest, which is coming soon, a dark world of treacherous adventure designed and illustrated by Jason Glover. I know about this and I'm very much looking forward to it. I love Jason Glover's game design. I love the concepts. This looks fascinating already, and I don't know anything about it. Here we go. Here's the presentation card that we actually need. This actually should be the introduction to the video here. Iron Chest is an expansion for Iron Helm. You will need the base game of Iron Helm to use the contents of this box. Let us start by organizing all the booster packs. Look through all the cards and find the 4 cards that look like the ones below. These are the cover cards for each expansion. All right, so we will follow the instructions and actually begin this by tearing into this first deck. And here we go. We've got the Lonely Troll Inn, an enemies deck, an artifacts deck, and an encounters deck. Oh boy. But we've got to follow the instructions. So we're tearing this open and we're getting our cover card for the Lonely Troll Inn. Wow, this comes with afflictions, loot, characters, henchmen, and there's beasts of burdens. And it looks like the other cards are going to be mixed. And indeed, in so far classic Iron Helm fashion, these cards are marked with the different symbols for each expansion for easy sortation, but it turns out that they are also shuffled. So the cards behind this one are not necessarily meant to accompany this expansion, this adventure pack. And so as expected, the next step is if you flip each of these cards over, you'll find the instructions for each of the 4 booster packs. In the upper left and right corners, you'll see an icon. This icon will be on all the cards that belong to that particular booster. Above are the 4 icons. They are below the booster pack they belong to. Go through the rest of the cards and separate them based on this icon. Each booster pack will have 18 cards, including the cover and instruction card. The green 12mm die that is included is for use with the henchman cards in the Lonely Troll Inn booster. You should now have all your booster packs in order. These are very arbitrarily banded together then. Thanks, Game Crafter. And yes, all 4 of those decks were absolutely shuffled together. All right, we've got our decks sorted, 18 cards in each, good to go. Next, you will find 4 jumbo map cards and the instruction card for random encounters. The 3 plastic minis are used with this expansion. Random encounters adds events that will occur in between each level of the dungeon. Lastly, this expansion comes with 15 divider cards meant to be used in the box for the base game of Iron Helm. There are 4 new card type dividers, black, and 4 new companion booster dividers, light gray. Additionally, there are 7 replacement adventure pack dividers, red. So how to use all this stuff? Using any of the booster packs or the random encounters expansion is as simple as reading the instruction card and deciding if you want to add the feature to your adventure. You can add a single aspect of a particular booster, like the henchman in the Lonely Troll Inn, and ignore everything else in this expansion. You can also add everything. It is up to you. Most of this content ups the difficulty a bit, and this is noted on the instruction cards. The Iron Chest also includes the final adventure pack, the Spire of Zogar. This is a level 4 dungeon and requires you to beat the base game and a level 2 and level 3 dungeon first. If you have further questions on gameplay, you will find a detailed tutorial video that breaks down everything on the Game Crafter page for Iron Chest. I'm so glad to have this in my possession. The poem that we began in the Iron Helm reveal video, well, it was a reveal to me anyway. Oh no, I think this is a different poem. It is a different poem. It is so cool. I love this art so much. It's just perfect. Who leaves the stars to search below? How else do I turn pain to gold? Why to dark places must I go? For this my bones grow much too old. What evils will my eyes retain? Where do they hide? What did they take? Silence. Louder than thunder rain, my foe upon me like a snake. He slashes at me with his pike, blade cuts through flesh and bone. I encounter with a killing strike, victory won alone. Who leaves the stars to search below? Why to dark places must I go? Random Encounters adds a layer to Iron Helm and answers the question of what happens to your character in between levels of the dungeon. Choose a random encounter map card that corresponds to the level of the adventure you are on. If you are playing with the base game, you are playing a level 1 adventure. Place a mini on the first floor as indicated, and you are ready to play. When you finish a dungeon level and are moving down to the next floor, take note of the icon in between each floor on the map card. Refer to the icons below and resolve. So, our treasure chest would be gain a random loot card. Our die would be random encounter. Roll a 6-sided die and refer to the dice icons on this card and resolve the corresponding result, which is why we have dice icons on this card. If you roll a 6, re-roll and refer to the following results. So this actually changes this stuff just a little bit. If we were to roll a 6 on the random encounter, because that would be referring to the random encounter again. Trap has us rolling a single 6-sided die and referring to the following results. Enemy, draw an enemy card and resolve combat. Enemies gain no bonuses to their health or initial damage. Mushrooms, roll a 6-sided die and refer to the following results. Treasure, gain a random loot card. Potion, gain a random potion card. This is expansion content done right. Add what you want or nothing at all. I love those instructions. We'll take a look at the dividers really quick, which is probably going to be one of the most boring things I could possibly look at. But I just want to show off the usefulness of these because these are sized exactly to the width of the box of Iron Helm, and they're going to help us immensely in making sure that we have all of our stuff sorted. Now, obviously, by the time all this is done and over with, we're going to have an empty box for our Iron Chest. This will be great for display purposes for me, but all the stuff is going in the Iron Helm box. So this remains a portable single box gaming solution experience. All right, before we dig into the rest of the stuff, I want to take a look at these miniatures and this die. This is a 14 millimeter die, I think, maybe a 12. It's small, doesn't take up very much space. And we have 3 miniatures which were printed using FDM. Now, I'm not gonna admonish the creator or anybody for this, but I will say I've got a lot of issues with printing minis with FDM methods. I would much rather see resin printed. I can understand how that would drive up the cost. These will be fun to have regardless and cool to flavor the game. It makes me want to sub in miniatures that I already have, but you know, I'll probably just keep these with the game for consistency's sake. But we have what looks to be kind of like a ranger. We have this powerful warrior, sword, shield, cape, and then we have this wizard. And you can see the layer lines. It's almost as if these were printed kind of at the lowest resolution, which is one thing I don't like about FDM, about PLA or ABS prints. But you know, that's okay. It's okay because they came with this. They're not the focus of this whatsoever. Moving on, Now, I think we will skip looking at the contents for the Spire of Zogar. Reason being, interestingly enough, this being a level 4 adventure pack, it is also numbered as adventure pack number 7. And the highest numbered adventure pack that you can get separate from this pack is Melicia's Refuge. This is adventure pack number 6. It is a level 3 adventure. And so just as the instructions say, this is the final adventure pack. So we'll be looking at the contents of this in a future video. But I definitely want to check out pieces of the Realms and Relics deck. This is a companion booster meant to complement the base adventure. It has 1 instruction card, 8 artifacts cards, and 9 environment cards, all laid out here. We'll take a look at the instructions on the back of this cover card. Adding this pack to the game will allow you to add environment cards. Environment cards make each level of a dungeon unique and behave differently. At the beginning of each level, draw an environment card and read it to understand how the level is changed. So before we continue, let's grab an environment card and turn it over for a bit of context. And this one is the Sanctum. A sense of calm rushes into your spirit as your eyes behold a majestic oak in a clearing. Immediately gain a blessing token. Text in red refers to negative aspects of the level, such as certain enemies dealing more damage. Text in white tells you positive changes to the level, such as additional benefits of the campsite. Now, we don't have any red on this card, so we have no negative aspects of the Sanctum. Adding environment cards will increase the overall difficulty of the dungeon. This pack also includes artifact cards. These are powerful and valuable loot cards. Because of this, it is difficult to obtain many of them. When instructed to draw a loot card during the game, you may pay blessing tokens to draw from the artifact deck instead. Your first artifact will cost 1 blessing token, while your second will cost 2, and your third will cost 3, and so on. Artifact cards are always drawn randomly. I like that system a lot. Let's draw another environment card and see if we can get some red text going. Here we go. The Bogland. Dense fog fills the air and a piercing stench hovers on this level of the dungeon. All enemies on this level add +1 to their damage during combat. When searching at the campsite, you will gain 1 additional ration. If you encounter the Mushroom Grove, you will gain 1 additional ration. This really does up the difficulty level because you really don't want enemies having buffs to their attack like this. It is really nice to get 1 additional ration at the campsite. If you encounter the campsite, that's not a given. Nice to get an additional ration at the Mushroom Grove, also not a given, but combat is a given. Combat is going to happen kind of no matter what. So yeah, ups the bonuses, but really makes the difficulty a lot higher to get there. Let's check out the Frost Glen. Oh wow, your breath turns to frozen mist and your skin tightens as you enter a vast frozen valley. All enemies on this level that are weak to fire add +2 to their damage during combat. So the enemies in Iron Helm can be weak to a variety of different attributes. Fire is one of them. So these enemies that will be weak to fire will actually be prepared for your arrival and will seek to end you as soon as they possibly can with their heightened attack. You may not search for food when at the campsite, and the Mushroom Grove does not contain rations. Ugh, snap. If you resolve the treasure card on this level, you gain an additional potion, and all enemies on this level that you defeat that are weak to fire gain you an additional gold. That could be a good thing. That could be a good thing. Let's look at the artifact cards and see if the journey through the Frost Glen would be worth such danger. We've drawn this one at random. It's Dragon Dung. Of course it's Dragon Dung. That sounds like exactly the kind of treasure that I would draw randomly, especially in a game like Iron Helm. You pick through the pile of stench and find 1d6 gold. Discard. Well, I guess we'll take that. I guess we can take that. We'll just go on to the next one. We've drawn randomly Doombearer. You may spend health instead of energy to attack. Doing so will cost you 1 additional health. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like that. Energy is there to keep you from losing health in battles. Oh, I don't like that. Revenge. Whenever you roll a 6 during an attack, gain 1 health. I do like that one. The lore for this one, I think, would have been better if it was like, this blade is called Revenge, or it's a vampire lord's blade, something like that. Why do I gain a health? One more here, the Golden Morel. If cooking at the campsite, you may discard this card to regain all your health. This one is gold. This card should be banned. It is so overpowered. So I think you get the point of the Realms and Relics expansion available in the Iron Chest expansion. I'm going to refer to these colloquially as expansions because to me, any collection of modular assets that adds to a game is just an expansion. I know I could be using a different term, but forgive me if that's not how you consider the convention of the naming. The Beast and Burdens Companion Booster contains 8 affliction cards, 6 enemies, 3 plot and mini-boss cards, and this instruction card. Adding this pack to the base game will up the difficulty quite a bit. Simply shuffle the new enemies and plots into their respective decks. Shuffle the affliction cards and form a face-down deck to be drawn from later. The new enemies add both variety and make the enemy deck tougher. The 3 new plot cards are actually mini-bosses. They are not easy to defeat, but they do give you 3 eye icons, which will get you closer to the boss. Afflictions are nasty sicknesses or disorders that will affect how the game will work. You gain a random affliction in one of 3 ways. 1. Run out of food. If you cannot feed your adventurer at the end of a level, you will gain an affliction. 2. Poisoning. The moment you gain your 3rd poison token, you gain an affliction. And 3. Enemies. Some of the new enemies in this pack will give you an affliction. A single affliction may be cured by drinking a health potion. All afflictions may be cured by drinking an antidote. That is definitely burdens. But good game mechanics. Let's see how they're actually presented. We'll check out one of the 3 plot cards here. And it's Death Knight. Gain 2 blessings when you defeat the Death Knight. There are 4 eye icons here. That's 14 health though. This guy has 14 health. Let's look at one more before we pack these away. The Tundress. She's awesome. When the Tundress successfully hits, gain 1 poison token. 9 health, but pretty high damage. I'm going to show you the last mini-boss only because he's pretty much featured on a lot of the artwork surrounding Iron Helm. This is the Dreadtrodon. The Dreadtrodon is awesome. If the Dreadtrodon rolls doubles during its attack, you gain an affliction. Really love that. Let's check out some of the enemies. The Unblessed. If you defeat an Unblessed, you gain 1 blessing token and move up 1 on the morality tracker. The Octahedron. Gain an affliction if you roll 2 or more 1s during an attack. The Fire Troll. The Sentinel, the Grey Ooze. Here are some of the afflictions. Insomnia, a potent cocktail of stress and fear has rendered you restless. Every time you attempt to fall asleep, either your mind will not shut off, or you do fall asleep only to wake up from a nightmare. You may no longer take the cook or rest action at the campsite. That's terrible. I don't like that. I'm not supposed to like it. I get it. That's the point. Plagued. An illness has come upon you. Your hands and feet are beginning to turn red and swell, and your mouth is dry. Sweat drips from your brow, and your clothes are damp with your own salty moisture. Immediately gain 1 poison token. At the end of each level, you gain an additional poison token for each poison token you have, instead of the standard 2-for-1 ratio. Ugh. Gold lust. You just cannot get enough gold. The mere sight of it causes your veins to pump blood faster and your fingers to twitch. In fact, you swear you can smell it when it is close, and it makes your mouth taste like honey. Whenever you are engaged in combat with an enemy that has gold, you deal 1 extra damage for each energy spent for your attack. However, enemies that carry gold will never miss when they attack you. And that's the crux of the beasts and burdens. Companion Booster. Next up, I think I'm most excited for this one, which is why I saved it for last. This is the Lonely Troll Inn. And how do we use this? Adding this pack to the base game will allow you to hire henchmen from the inn. The cost to hire a henchman is indicated by the number of gold coins shown next to the die icon in the lower left corner of their card. Let's go ahead and grab a henchman card and turn it over. Bogdana. Bogdana! She is babushka. Decades of toiling in the earth and gathering in the forest has made Bogdana a skilled survivor. Gain 1 extra ration when at the Mushroom Grove. And when at the campsite, she will cook you a meal, gaining you 3 energy. You may choose to take an additional action for yourself. Whenever you face an enemy in combat with 5 or more health, Bogdana will lose 1 morale. Don't be fooled by my age. My legs and mind are spry. Looks like she's going to cost 1 gold. Once hired, place a die on the henchman's card on top of the die icon. Okay, I was wondering about that. That's why the gold was a question. Making sure the value matches what is shown. This tells us the henchman's starting morale. They can never have more morale than what they start with. The red text tells us how each henchman can lose morale, and the white text lets us understand what abilities they bring to the table and how they will interact with the campsite dungeon card. You may restore your henchman's lost morale by paying them gold. Each gold given will raise their morale by 1. This pack also includes a bunch of new trappings to explore and a new character to play as. This character, Mizlak the Beggar, is quite weak, starting with no skills, trappings, or food. Completing an adventure with Mizlak will not be easy, but if you can manage it, you will gain 10 bonus points when scoring. We'll look at some of the other henchmen, and yes, we do see their gold icons increasing as we continue up. Here's Godfrey. As a brother of the Red Cloth, Godfrey seeks to rid the world of the undead evils that lurk in dark places. His knowledge of the undead will gain you +2 to the sum of your attack rolls against them. When at the altar location, Godfrey will pray, gaining you 2 energy. You may also take an additional action for yourself. But whenever you defeat a foe that is not undead, Godfrey loses 1 morale. you also may not take an action on a plot card that would lower your morale on the morality tracker. The wicked will perish by the hand of God. This is Olive. Olive spent many years as a healer in the northern peaks of Norcia. When at the campsite, she will tend your wounds, removing all poison. Whenever you defeat a foe that has 6 or more health, Olive will lose 1 morale. May the mountain spirits protect us. Whenever you defeat a foe that has 6 or more health, that's when she loses morale? I'm so sad you defeated a large enemy. I'm losing hope. What? Well, she is a healer, so seeing all of that unhealing occur is probably what triggers her. Adis here is actually used in artwork for Tin Helm. A proud warrior, Adis will have your back in combat, adding 1 damage to the sum of your attacks and allowing you to subtract 1 from your enemy attacks. But at the campsite, she will search for food with her action, gaining you an extra food. At the end of each level, you must pay Adis an additional gold or she will leave. She only has 1 morale, but it looks like there's no way that she can really lose it. Other than standard methods, you can trust on my sword if I can trust on your coin purse. And here is Mizlak the Beggar. Gain 10 bonus points if you complete the game with Mizlak the Beggar. His skill learning stat is Brawn. For trappings, we have Faith Beads. When at the altar, gain 2 bonus health. An Ice Tome. You deal double damage whenever you use an Ice Shard, +1 to sum of your attack roll versus enemies weak to ice. The Sharpening Stone. You may flip a single die to its reverse side during combat once per level. This is in Tin Helm as well. It's really useful. You roll a 1 and you want to make that 1 a 6, you can make that 1 a 6. It's not always a helpful thing, which, if you know, you know. The Fire Tome. You deal double damage whenever you use a Spark Bomb, +1 to some of your attack roll versus enemies weak to fire. Punch Daggers. When delivering a bare-fisted blow, deal 2 damage instead of 1, costing you 0 energy. The Studded Coif. Subtract 1 from initial damage if you suffer a single hit of 4 or more damage, your Studded Coif breaks. And that is the contents of the Iron Chest. The Iron Helm expansion. The space in the Iron Helm box is way more than enough for all of your expansions to go into, and it even comes with these adventure pack dividers, so you can buy whatever you like to add to this pack and you'll have everything you need to keep your cards nice and separated. But it looks like the separator cards that come with the Iron Chest actually replace those that come with Iron Helm's standard base game. That's kind of funny. So I guess in this way we can actually go ahead and put these into the chest. They won't be used. So we can take Beasts and Burdens and place it in front of its divider. Are you a in front of divider kind of person, or do you like to put your stuff behind the divider? I like to do front because when I see it, that's when I can kind of do this move here. But everybody's different. So for my divider that says Beasts and Burdens, I'm going to take my enemies exclusive to that pack and the instruction card and place them here. And for the Affliction cards, which I don't think appear in any of the other expansions so far, those will go in their Afflictions divider. And this is kind of how I'll handle my sortation method. Like the Lonely Troll in here comes with characters and trappings, and these are things that come with the base game. And of course the instruction card, I'll put those with the Lonely Troll in divider rather than in the separate dividers for the base game for enemies and the like. You get what I mean. And then for Realms and Relics, only the instruction card, because artifacts and environments actually have their own dividers as well. So after including all of our expansions so far, we have barely filled up any of this box, but that's okay because the bagged icons and now the dice and pawns and figurines will go in there, filling up the rest of our box. All in all, a totally worthwhile expansion to what is undoubtedly a great single-player dungeon crawler experience. I've seen others say that this is like their go-to for a solo dungeon crawl, for a solitaire adventure. And I totally get it. One of the cool things about the Iron Chest expansion is that it doesn't come with any tokens, which means you won't be washing soot off of your hands, off of your tokens, and off of your table for the following day, like I had to do after unboxing Iron Helm and not taking the soot warning seriously, as I should have. And so that's my unboxing of Iron Chest. I've got a little bit of cleanup to do here, obviously. I hope you will look forward to my future presentation of other Iron Helm content. We still have adventure packs, dungeon packs, loot and lore packs, and the fanny pack all to go. But for now, brave heroes, I hope you can survive the dungeon depths with your newfound resources and knowledge. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye for now.